Oh, what a hugely frustrating afternoon there for Chelsea fans after today's 1-1 draw against Nottingham Forest at Stamford Bridge, who, by the way, pulled out every dark trick in the book. And honestly, smaller club or not, who have spent a lot less money than us, I really don't care. I would hate to travel and see my team play like that, play as negative, as defensively, as dirty as that. But at the same time, I'm honest enough and open enough to admit that this is a results-driven industry and business, and therefore they did get the job done in terms of what they came here to do. You know, they are draw merchants. Going into this game, they're drawn 4 already this season. They've now drawn 5, and that's pretty much what they came to do. I spoke about the fact in my pre-match prediction, or preview video at least, that I anticipated Nottingham Forest to come to play defensive football, to park the bus against us, and that is exactly what they did today. But at the same time as me feeling so negative about the result today, I actually think we showed real progression with our performance today, and I actually think we showed that at this point last season we were nowhere near where we are this season, you know, because not only, listen, this isn't the type of match we lost last season. This literally is the game that we lost last season. Last season, I was in the stands. Nottingham Forest rocked up to Stamford Bridge. They parked the bus as they did today, and they came away with a 1-1 win. So despite us feeling so negative about the result today, we do have to look at the fact that the result is better than last season, at least. And the start to the season has undoubtedly, without any dispute, been better than last season. So I think there are positives to take away from today's game, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper into why I feel there are so many positives to take away from today's game after we recap what was a crazy game at Stamford Bridge. But people, before we get into all that, welcome back to the Joey Knight podcast. If you are new around here, if you like the content and you want to see more from myself, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like button right now. I know you don't feel like doing it after we didn't come away with the win, but please do me a favour. It helps out the channel massively. Let's get into the talking points from today's game. So the first real chance of the match falls to Noni Madueke, the man that I have to hold my hands up right here and say I was very wrong to have excluded in favour of Pedro Neto when I named my preferred starting lineup for this game. Now, seeing the way the game went, and we're going to get into it, recapping all the match, that was a dire mistake from myself because Noni Madueke was the difference maker probably for us today. But that being said, little spoiler alert, I wouldn't be giving Noni Madueke the man of the match for Chelsea today because we will get into the man that deserves that. But the first real chance falls for him. He's up against Moreno in the 1v1 and he leaves him behind. He had Moreno on skates all day today, to be honest. His effort is dragged wide of the post, but there were the potential warning signs of what was to come all day long from Noni Madueke. Now, just after Sanchez makes his first save of the match, when Hudson-Odoi whips a ball into the box, I think it was Ryan Yates' head who it meets rather than Chris Wood. It was straight at Robert Sanchez, but that again was a sign of things to come because Robert Sanchez was making saves all day long. 23 minutes in, Noni Madueke, who's been menacing throughout, showing both his biggest strengths probably and biggest weaknesses at the same time, in terms of his biggest strength being his ability to just leave men behind in the 1v1 and get at them every single time, and biggest weakness at this time possibly being his finishing when he does so. You know, you look at comparisons of the likes of him and maybe a Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka is often seeing the end product be a lot better when he does get the better of that 1v1, and that's something that I think we will see over time come in to Noni Madueke's game. It's not a bad effort, but it doesn't make it on target. Now, Forest have spent a lot of time with the pressure being put on them by Chelsea at this point, and the negative tactics and having every single man behind the ball, as they showed here, were ones that were actually battled a lot harder and combated a lot better than, or by Chelsea, I should say, than we were able to last season, you know. I know for a fact that Noni Madueke started the game against Forest last season because I remember him hitting the crossbar. Obviously, Cole Palmer No, he was there. He came on as a sub. I remember that. He came on as a sub and he was a bit of a difference maker, but he didn't start that game, and obviously Jadon Sancho wasn't there at that point last season. And having those three men, definitely with Noni Madueke being a first choice player now this season, and having the likes of Jadon Sancho and Cole Palmer there were helping us out because we were creating so much more. That game last season, the reason it was so frustrating wasn't only that we didn't manage to break the deadlock despite hitting the woodwork and we didn't manage to score in that game, but the fact that we didn't really manage to create all that much in that game. And today we had 22 shots, 9 of those, or 8 of those I should say, being on target. So we showed that we were able to deal with the low block a lot better, albeit not coming away with the points today. Now, 38 minutes, Murillo of Nottingham Forest, he comes the closest to anyone, or the closest that anyone had been at that point in the game to breaking the deadlock, when he absolutely pelts one at Robert Sanchez. Robert Sanchez makes a real good save in a real nervy moment for Chelsea. And a few moments later, Madueke drills a left-footed effort on target to force a save from Sells, the Forest goalkeeper. It then spills out back into the box, and it probably, in my opinion, you lot might call me harsh here, spills to the worst player it could fall to, which is Enzo Fernandez, because I've said it time in, time out, and the free kick against Aston Villa in the Cup, I think it was, doesn't change my mind on it. Enzo Fernandez's shooting is poor.
Right, guys, I know exactly what you are thinking right now. This man has had a 5-round fight of a Golden Gloves winner last night, and I hardly look like I've got a mark on me. I am looking well-groomed, to say the least, and that is not because of my defensive ability in a boxing ring. It is because I trust my grooming with Manscaped. And how I do that is by using the Performance Package 5.0. And it's not only me that uses that Performance Package, it is trusted by over 11 million people. So if you want to look as good as me and you want to do so by using the Performance Package 5.0, this is your lucky day, because I have a link in my description. If you hit that link, you will get my discount code, which is 20% off. And if that isn't good enough already, you're also going to get free shipping on your order. And firstly, inside the Performance Package 5.0, you will find the Lawnmower 5.0. And this, boys, is your personal groundskeeper for your body. This trimmer comes with 2 interchangeable skin-safe blade heads, meaning you are going to get the perfection when it comes to how you are trimmed down there, and you are not going to have to worry about any nips or cuts. Not only that, it is waterproof, so you will have the power in the shower to be able to trim. Also inside the Performance Package, you will get the Weed Whacker 2.0, which is your nostril and ear trimmer, because we all know we want to keep those areas trimmed too. But we're not done there. We also have 2 extra free gifts for you, which are the Boxers 2.0 and the Performance Package bag. So hit the link in the description and use my code JoeyKnight for 20% off and free shipping. Help support me by supporting the guys who support the channel, and that is Manscaped. Thank you very much to Manscaped. Let's get back into the video.
And it's not even poor to the extent where it's memorable, like Raheem Sterling's free kick against Leicester. If you know, you know. But it's poor to the extent where you don't remember it, because it's just straight at the goalkeeper every time. And it's so frustrating when Enzo Fernandez does this. Just pass it to someone else and let someone else have the shot, because he's so bad. He's so bad when he does it, you know. 43 minutes in. Honestly, don't know how Chelsea don't have the ball in the back of the net. It's Madueke again. He's terrorising his men. He wriggles through about 3 men, cuts it back to Cole Palmer. Now, Cole Palmer's off balance. Is he off balance? Is he being pushed over? I don't know. Probably being pushed over if you look at the way that Nottingham Forest played today and the tactics that they deployed. But either way, he still manages to get the ball to sort of dribble across onto the goal line. It hits the post. I'm looking at the ref because I'm waiting for his watch to buzz and tell us that it's gone over the line, but it hasn't gone over the line. And this is actually where I was so impressed, right? Because it was these sort of moments last season that Chelsea almost capitulated a little bit. We'd have that euphoria of thinking we had scored, and maybe we'd hit the woodwork, or maybe VAR would disallow a goal, and then we'd almost look like we're licking our wounds and feeling sorry for ourselves, and in that moment, that's when we'd end up conceding, and that's what almost happened today. Nottingham Forest go up the other end of the field and literally mirroring all the bad moments from last season. Yates has an effort that's going in, and Levi Colwell dives in front of it and produces probably a match-saving block, I would say there. So really, really shows us a progression. Now, thoughts of mine at half-time is I'm looking at it and I'm thinking maybe we might need Nkunku on the field here, because he's shown the ability against Bournemouth this season, against Liverpool at Anfield last season, to be able to wriggle out of some of these tight spaces. And we're only going to have tight spaces because these lot are absolutely parking the bus. They are not going to play at all. And we maybe need someone to produce an individual moment of brilliance, perhaps, to be able to beat them, because we're just not going to have the same sort of chances we do against teams that come with more confidence to Stamford Bridge and a feeling of more responsibility to give their fans something to cheer about, you know. Obviously, listen, you're going to look at what I'm saying right now and think, well, hold on, they came away with a point, but I just think it's such a negative way to play football, man. Second half, no changes are actually made, and I'm not really disputing that at the time. As the half went on, there were certain players that would speak about that I was willing to be dragged off the field, but at that moment in time, the only one I could have maybe said would have been Renato Vega's introduction. Could have been necessary to give us a little bit more height in there. Definitely when you look at the fact that in the second half we started to have more success in whipping balls into the box and actually getting ahead on some of them, as Madueke did, as Nkunku did when he came on, and as other players did. So I thought that a little bit of height in there could have been necessary, but I wasn't really adverse to the fact we didn't make changes, because what I felt like was happening was that we were doing the right things, and I honestly felt like we were going to win the match because we were getting the better of that low block a lot, you know. The low block at times saw us pretty much end at the side of the box, and we were getting the shots away. We were getting through those spaces. We just weren't able to convert today. Now, 49 minutes in, the scoring is opened by Nottingham Forest, and I need to stop, you know, speaking about team strengths in my match previews, because I spoke about set-piece delivery being something that we needed to really, really watch out for with them having James Ward-Prowse in the team. And I also spoke about the fact that Chris Wood's contribution to this Nottingham Forest team often goes under the radar with, 14 league goals last season, 3 before today, 4 after today, because when a ball is whipped in from, I think it was maybe even their own half or just the edge of our half, I say whipped in, it was dipped over the top from James Ward-Prowse. It ends up at the head of Milenkovic, who heads it onto the foot of Chris Wood, who guides it past Robert Sanchez. Nothing he can do about it, making it 1-1. Now, 56 minutes in, though, something positive happens. We level. It's Cole Palmer who gets the assist. God knows how many goal contributions he got so far this season. It's our most threatening player, who I didn't include in the lineup, who I definitely should have. Egg on my face right now. Noni Madueke. He wriggles past a man again, definitely winning the 1v1, and he skims it. Left-footed finish into the bottom corner. It's a great finish, to be fair, from Noni Madueke. He makes it 1-1, and then it's just Chelsea dominance. We're just applying the pressure. Nicholas Jackson coming into life a little bit more than he had in the first half, because I think even despite what they were probably being instructed, Nottingham Forest felt they had some sort of chance of getting another goal where they had already scored. So there were more spaces opening up, and obviously legs tiring as well. One of those legs that were tiring were James Ward-Prowse's. Now, I've got to speak about James Ward-Prowse, because 75 minutes, about an hour after the free kick is won, James Ward-Prowse does test Robert Sanchez from the free kick. Robert Sanchez once again making a decent save, but there must be a world record set there for the amount of time wasted after that free kick. And just in the second half in general, there was 13 minutes added on at the end of 90 minutes, right? The ref could not wait for the game to finish, because it was just getting too hot and heavy for him. He blew his whistle literally as the 13th minute went. There should have been 30. I'm not even joking. Not 13. There should have been 30 minutes added on. That should have been a 120-minute match played today, because there was so much time wasting from Nottingham Forest. They wasted so much time in the build-up to that free kick. Subbing players on, James Ward-Prowse wasting time. And do you know what? Literally 2 minutes later, justice is served as James Ward-Prowse is given his marching orders. Not for wasting time this time. This time, he has a Gerrard-esque slip, who's onto it? You know who's onto it. It's Nicholas Jackson, because he's always chasing his men down, and that is one of the things that goes under the radar with him and proving his worth to this team. He gets the better of it. James Ward-Prowse just dives onto the ball to hold it, and rightly so, is given his second yellow of the match. It should have been a straight red. Not that I really care whether he serves a match ban or what, or 1 match ban, 3 match ban, but he should have been a straight red for it. He knew exactly what he was doing. Nicholas Jackson had him beat. And then they go down to 10 men, but in my opinion, them playing with 10 men, I felt at the time, wasn't going to make it any different or any easier for us, because you still got probably just as many men behind the ball either way when you're not looking to score like that. Now, 86th minute, Cole Palmer produces a moment of brilliance, which then inspires a moment of magic, let's be honest, from Sells, the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. Cole Palmer receives the ball in the box, but with his back to goal. Now, I'm going to be honest, I never saw a replay, and in the moment, I don't know how he weaved out of that position and got a shot away, but he did. He shoots, Sells saves it, it drops to Palmer again, he shoots, Sells saves it again, and then all chaos commences. Cucurella is running to retrieve the ball. He is getting the better of Nico Williams. Nico Williams kicks out at Cucurella, sends him flying into Enzo Maresca, of all people. He falls over, and then a 20-man brawl ensues, more or less. You can guess who's at the middle of it. Levi Colwell. He lives for this sort of thing. He absolutely fucking loves it. He's stuck right in there. So many bookings given out there in that moment in time, including one for Cucurella, which means he misses the Liverpool match. We'll speak about the consequences of that, but that's something I'm gutted at. 86 minutes, or no, should I say 90th minute. I don't know whether I've missed this out or not. I think I have missed this out, but at some point in there, Enzo Fernandez has come off the pitch, and so is Nicholas Jackson, and that is when Nkunku and João Felix have been subbed on. Enzo Fernandez's display today, poor. Very poor, in my opinion, if I'm being completely honest. 91 minutes in, Neto, who is now on the pitch, whips a ball into the box. A beauty, by the way, which meets the head of João Felix. João Felix unable to convert in that moment. And it's another one of those chances that we had today that really, really should have gone in. And then 94th minute, the game explodes into life once again after Robert Sanchez makes a point saving, definitely save, can't say a match winning save, from Nico Williams again when he stops us falling behind. I keep saying Nico Williams, right? Am I pronouncing it even right? But anyway, we break with Mykhailo Mudryk, who for the second time in 1 week puts another great ball into the box, meets the head of Nkunku, and it's just the wrong height, really. He needs to head it down into the ground. The goalkeeper ends up getting to it. 103 minutes, Nottingham Forest nearly robbed the bank. They nearly robbed the bank. They nearly scored a winner, and this match-saving contribution from Robert Sanchez here cannot go under the radar. He proved why he is number one in that moment there. It's a save that I can't wholeheartedly say I feel that Jorgensen definitely would have made. Even Petrovic definitely would have made. And Robert Sanchez today, in a crazy game, really, really showed his worth. Had it not been for Robert Sanchez, we definitely lose this match. And that is why Robert Sanchez is my man of the match today. It finishes 1-1. We're not able to get the goal that we so wanted and feel that we deserve. We definitely did deserve. Just look at the stats. But after a crazy game in which I do feel disappointed at the result, why do I feel somewhat less disappointed and almost somewhat optimistic at the performance? And that is that if you look at Nottingham Forest, they haven't started this season badly at all. They know how to draw games. They also know how to win games, beating the likes of Liverpool away, which they would have loved to have done to us today. And do you know what? I feel like they showed us more respect today than they even showed Liverpool in that game. And when you look at it, this isn't the Premier League of 20 years ago, growing up when I was a kid, when, 80% of teams Chelsea were expected to beat. This isn't like that. Anyone can beat anyone, Arsenal have gotten away with it a few times this season, but really struggled. Man City against Fulham yesterday struggled. Liverpool lost to this exact Nottingham Forest side a couple of weeks ago, and what I'm saying is the depth and the quality and the class of the Premier League is so much better now that you can drop points to these sides. But this isn't a match that we drew last season. This is a match that we lost last season. So in my opinion, this specific test of breaking down that low block and winning in this sort of game hasn't been passed today, but it also hasn't been failed. I think that you've got to look at the fact we stay unbeaten since the opening day now, and if you had have offered me this little run of form after the Crystal Palace match, maybe, I would have took it. I would have took this little run of form that we've been on. So it's disappointing, but it's not damning that we didn't win the match today. And it's small margins, you know. You look, we saved ourselves a point here today that we didn't get against Nottingham Forest last season. And it was only a matter of points that stopped us finishing 5th in the league last season. That 5th spot in the league this season will all but guarantee us Champions League football. And from the display I saw today, this is just one of those matches where you dust yourself off and go again. There's no need to really go back to the drawing board. I feel like what worked today will work in other matches. We'll have a little bit more luck on our side, and things will go a little bit better for us in other matches. I don't think it's back to the drawing board. I'm not coming away from this one going, oh, what are this Chelsea team, you know? We controlled the match. We looked in control of the match. We were good in this game, I thought. But even dropping points today, Chelsea showed me we're a Champions League side. One thing I've got to speak about is Enzo Fernandez. You know, he started today as captain, but that's not a player for me that should be captain at this moment in time, because you don't always need to be a captain because of your performances on the pitch and you being the absolute best in the team or in your position or anything even like that. Sometimes it can be more so vocally what you do, more so in terms of picking players up and inspiring them. But there's so many players that I would put in the ranking ahead of Enzo Fernandez for the captaincy at this moment in time. The man alongside him in midfield, by the way, Caicedo, way more deserving. Cucurella, way more deserving. Levi Colwell, an academy graduate, way more deserving. Even Fofana would be more deserving. And Enzo Fernandez showed today his set-piece delivery, again, was rubbish. Like, we've been better, way better, since taking on the Brentford set-piece specialist, who you often see down barking orders off of the touchline alongside Enzo Maresco, and I love it, by the way. But Enzo Fernandez put on 2 corners in a row. He fails to beat the first man with both of them. The delivery's poor, and in a match of fine margins, the delivery can't be poor. It needs to be better, like we saw when Cole Palmer then ended up going over and being put on the corners after that. And Enzo Fernandez just failing to inspire so often. He has good matches where he does make the assist and makes some really great passes and does things at times, but when you look at the price tag, which he didn't decide, but he was bought in for, he's not living up to that, and he's possibly not even living up to enough to be a starter in this team for me. I'm sorry. I don't know with Enzo Fernandez at the moment, man. Inconsistent, and look at, I know not every player can be Cole Palmer, but maybe we don't even compare him to Cole Palmer and just compare him to another man that was in midfield today, Malo Gusto, playing out of position. Look at him in comparison to Malo Gusto. Malo Gusto's way more consistent than Enzo Fernandez. So I don't know. There are the positives to take, there are the negatives to take. Like, you look at the fact that Colwell came off injured, I think it was a hip injury. That means this international squad he'll be probably ruled out of, and I'm not really averse to that either. I don't care about him playing in some friendlies or some qualifiers for England, but hopefully he can be back in time for the trip to Anfield, because we know that Fofana now is suspended, Cucurella now is suspended, and that's going to be tricky for us because we have had that stability in the league. But let's finish off talking about Robert Sanchez. He is the man of the match for me. What a game for him. So many good saves in there. So many decent saves, which you've got to give him credit for as well, rather than the real good saves. Saves that you'd expect him to make, but maybe saves in the past before he hadn't made. It's not hard to play out from the back when you're playing against the team that's set up in the way as Nottingham Forest did today, you know, defensively and negatively. But at the same time, you still got to do it, and he played out well from the back. And I just think Robert Sanchez has shown a lot this season. There's been moments like, you know, the goals that he cost us against Brighton, or the goal, I should say. But that's a game we went on to win. And in a game we weren't able to win, Robert Sanchez was the reason we didn't lose it today. So you've got to give him the credit for that. People, let me know your thoughts. Am I wrong to be somewhat positive? Because I'm just saying, look at the Bournemouth 0-0 draw. Look at the 1-0 loss to Nottingham Forest last season. I wouldn't so much say the West Ham game that we lost in the opening stages, because I actually thought we played well in that game and suffered defensive sort of mistakes and vulnerabilities. But there were so many more games that maybe aren't coming to mind right now. Away at Everton, home to Wolves, away at Wolves. There were so many games when not only did we get the result, we didn't really deserve the result. Today, at least, we deserved the result and we didn't get it. But there's promise going forward, you know. We've showed that we are able to deal with these sort of teams. And I think 9 out of 10 times you play that match and we get the result, and we have to be realists and understand that teams can drop points to everyone. And when you take it back and you look at the picture as a whole and say, okay, going into this second international break of the season now, how's Enzo Maresca faring and how are this team faring? I think well. And I think a draw in today's game, when we look back on things, won't be the worst thing. But let me know your thoughts. Am I being harsh on Enzo Fernandez? Am I being too optimistic about the performance? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe if you're not already. Please hit the like button. I will see you all in the next one.